Hello, friends, allies, whoever. You are welcome. It is a Thursday night. I'm ScreamingWyvern. This is my Thursday night stream. You probably put that together with the first two items. But I am here continuing my foray into freeform solo role-playing. Every Thursday night, I like to grab a game from my bundles of solo TTRPGs and share them with the world. And 2 weeks ago, when I wasn't dying from back pain like last week, I began playing The Realms of Pugmire solo. Realms of Pugmire is it's basically a furry TTRPG. Let's go ahead and face that fact right up front. The main concept is that humanity vanished thousands of years ago, maybe. Just gone. Was it war? Was it they ascended? Who knows? Who cares? The point is that before they vanished, they improved their pets, their birds, rabbits, squirrels. I don't think you're supposed to have a pet squirrel, but I don't think that stops anybody. Dogs and cats, obviously. As you can guess from it being called The Realms of Pugmire and not The Realms of Squirrelmire. I am using for decision-making about what my scenes are, the Mythic GME, the Adventure Crafter for my Oracle, which is how we replace a game master in solo role-playing games. That's where the word Mythic GME comes in. These are helper cards. I should actually have those somewhere else. What do I want to say? Word. Every time I start trying to advertise the page, I get confused. It's not WordPress, obviously. Oh, hey, I've got a box right here. Why don't I go ahead and read off? From Wordmill Games. Yes, Wordmill Games. I am the best at advertising. Anyway, Wordmill Games, absolutely fantastic systems for solo role-playing games. The Mythic GME is a book. If you use Fantasy Grounds, there is a plugin on the Forge, which lets you go ahead and have that automated there. But I love the idea of cards. It's so neat in my mind to go ahead and actually flip over a card instead of, rolling a die and flipping through the notebook, as it were. It's as much as I love dice. Don't get me wrong. This is a 30-sided die. Most people don't have 30-sided die. And this is actually more because I'm a nut for Dungeon Crawl Classics that I have this. But if I didn't, I probably would still have it. Allegedly. You can't prove otherwise. So, that is my advertisement for the Adventure Crafter and the Mythic GME in card form. Let's see, is there anything I wanted to go ahead and bring up before I get started? I think that's pretty much good. So, last time I created the character of Mr. Cole of the family butler. So named after my pupper, who is currently snoring in a dog bed next to me, and I will not be waking him up for anyone's. But that doesn't mean I can't track down a photo of him. Here's a good one. Observe the butler. This is what it's all for. This is the butler. All hail. Why? Why is there a large... Okay, there is the thing here, but there's supposed to be something in there. Can you try again? All hail the messiness of the desk. Okay, that's better. So I only recently started using my phone as a camera, so forgive me my incompetence. Okay, so now that you've seen the Cole Butler of which we speak, here he is in Pugmire terms. Now, I have a video up on YouTube which displays me setting up Mr. Butler's character sheet. What you need to know most is that I am currently in the way. Let's go ahead and have me move up here instead so that I can show off Mr. Cole properly. All right. To quickly go over it, Pugmire First Edition was a Dungeons & Dragons 5e hack under the OGL. Wizards of the Coast got weird, went ahead and made it look like they were dropping the OGL. Lots of people were like, okay, we cannot trust you anymore. And so Realms of Pugmire 2nd Edition uses a very similar game system. I'm not going to say that it's effectively identical, except for some, very vital information. But if you're used to D&D 5e, it's not going to hurt, which is good, because currently the expansion that I needed last week is still in the first edition form. So fortunately, it translates absolutely perfectly 1-to-1. There is a guide if you need help, but really it's just a matter of looking at the books side by side. So Mr. Cole is a fettle, which means that he's from hardy stock. He is a noble, or at least his family used to be noble until something mysteriously happened. Because he is in the process of trying to regain his family status by any means necessary, he is of the Ratter calling, which basically is your rogue class. Currently, the story goes that Mr. Cole was met in his home by Pastor Christoph from the nearby Church of Man. Having read through some additional information about the history of Pugmire, to get it fresh in my head, pastors is not the correct official term for a leader of the Church of Man, but I don't think that this is an official church of the Church of Man. The way I see it is that 2 generations ago, so let's say 40 years, House Butler, the mansion, sat in the middle of a I want to say quarter, but Pugmire is obviously going to be way more than quarters. But here's the mansion. Here's all the businesses that are owned by the mansion. Here's the housing. And of course, they have their own chapel of the Church of Man. And then Mr. Cole's great-grandfather or grand-uncle or whatever, let's not be sexist here, could be grand-aunt, I don't know what the gender-neutral phrases are, unfortunately, off the top of my head. But they made some kind of decision which threw the Butler household into shame. They had their relics of rank taken away, and that meant that the area, anyone who could moved out to better and brighter places, and anyone who couldn't moved in, since it was now a free area. So this little part of the city is no longer worthy of a true Church of Man. And so, of course, that's why Mr. Butler is so keen on bringing them back so that, his family name can be redeemed. The number one way of doing that in Pugmire, if you want to create a new noble family, is you find an ancient relic of man. Now, there are relics. Lots of people have relics. The wizards among the dogs have figured out how to use relics as a focus for their spell casting. The cats of the monarchy of Mao tend to take these lesser relics and they destroy them to gain their power in a more warlock-esque sense. But we're talking about capital R relics, like swords of immense power, like a tablet filled with history that still has charges available on, the battery isn't dead, or they can figure out how to restore that. Things like that, where it's it's not just a trace of man, it's a trace of the power that man once held. And of course, this is important to the dogs because they were uplifted by man, and they all want to be good dogs for when man comes back. So, Mr. Cole, that is basically his personality. He is seeking the treasures of man for family and not himself, and his main inspiration is his bond to his family and his wish to see them respected again. Now, I briefly mentioned earlier that the real Mr. Butler is currently in a nice, comfy bed, so that has become our game's Mr. Butler's number one weakness. No matter what, he can't say no to a comfortable bed. The pastor of the Shrine of Man has discovered that a lot of the pups around what was once the Butler Mansion have left. They've gone missing, they've gone out, and not just the pups, some of the older dogs. And it appears that they have been lured by Family Barker, who seems to be launching an attack on the nearby monarchies of Mao, the Cat Kingdoms, obviously. And based on that, Cole realizes that as good as getting an artifact to reinstate his family is concerned, if he can do some glowing deed that impresses the nobles and the king of Pugmire, maybe that ancestor's mistake will just be expunged from the records. Since no one is alive today who's willing to speak as to exactly what happened, that's actually one of our plot points for this game. So, Mr. Cole looks for some assistance, but he's turned down. Fine. He's going to go ahead and search by himself. He is halfway between the city and the hills, wherein the Barker family are allegedly collecting their troops to head to Mao, when he needs to make camp. And while he's making camp, he is woken by something in the dark. After a fight where Mr. Cole tries to use his skills and fails a little bit, he is taken as an assistant by the Rat Jenner. And of course, here's where we see that the things that haven't been quite so, so we've got agility, which is our dexterity; might, which is our strength; vitality, which is our constitution; cunning, which is our wisdom; intelligence, which is our intellect; and presence, which is charisma. So easy translation for anyone who's looking to go to the go with the second edition. So yeah, this is his new rat friend, who I have named Jenner. After going through the options for Jenner, I got to thinking that it was very unlikely that a rat who was part of what is known as the cult of Labotor would be out completely by himself if he was a full-blooded member of the cult. Now, the cult of Labotor is the dogs want to be good dogs for when man returns. The cats know that when man returns, they will be raised up to their rightful place as his gods. The rats and mice simply know that they were the first ones, the actual first ones to be uplifted. And they feel that it's their job to learn the history of man, learn why he disappeared, learn as much as they can, and to keep some of that knowledge away from the dogs and cats who might get upset by anything which disproves their worldview. But the cult of Labotor has that obsession with learning about man without that capacity for empathy and concern. So that's a problem. They are known for, if they're not actually white mice or rats, for trying to dye their fur. They usually wear leathers in the form of a long coat. Again, usually dyed white. And they like to perform experiments on other sentient beings. No mere rodents are in their collection for doing tests with. No, they're going to go ahead and go straight for other rats and mice, cats, dogs, anything that they can get their paws on. Because of that, and because I want Jenner to at least have the potential of being likable, Jenner is not actually a full member of the cult of Labotor. He is strong and he is smart, which makes him a perfect potential assistant for the cult of Labotor. But he and his families are actually refugees, so they don't have the they probably lived in some kind of complex that was ran by the cult and needed to flee, probably because one of the experiments went awry. So Jenner believes that he is meant to be a member of the cult of Labotor. But the problem is he doesn't know how to get back to them, and he doesn't really know their lessons. He just dimly remembers this. So he believes he would be a perfect assistant, but he needs to have something to show them. He's a ruffian, which means that he has no particular skills that are based on research. hold on just one moment. So, like I said, he's strong and smart. But the number one problem is that he just lacks the wit to find his way out of a wet paper bag. Which I figure, since Cole is going to be our thief with him as our warrior, we've got a perfect pair to start off with. So, with all that said, let's go ahead and put down the character sheets. And let's go ahead and put back the me picture. All right. Here we have my spreadsheet where I've got my plot tracking. So we currently have 7 plot lines that could come up. Obviously, the first one is finding a way to restore the Butler family name. The initial way of doing that is to either do some great action for the benefit of the monarchies, or finding a relic to, re-ennoble the Butler family. Then, of course, we've got the cause of the Butler name being brought down. It probably goes without saying that I haven't actually, but because this is a freeform game, I haven't actually come up with a story for that. That's going to come from the deck of cards. So we're going to see where that goes. Number 3, when I rolled Mr. Cole, as a ratter, he received his ratter tools from a mysterious source. Looking at the options, I decided this was going to be because he gained them from an obnoxious ratter. He learned that this was something that he could do by defeating this jerk who was running games, running scams, who knows, in the Inns of Pugmire, where Mr. Cole was having fun. House Barker's War on Mao. Obviously, that's where we're going with this. Pastor Christoph's past, why he is a unofficial member of the Church of Man. The Haunted Hills. This is where the House Barker is forming up their army, allegedly, and Mr. Cole could not get help going after this because all the dogs that he ran across were afraid of some kind of haunting that had filled the hills. And finally, Jenner's history. What else we may learn about him. As far as the character's concerned, we have the obnoxious ratter. Maybe he'll show up. Pastor Christoph could happen that he makes an appearance. Noble House Barker and the Cult of Labrador. I'm actually going to go ahead and make Jenner a character in his own right. So last time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, perfect. Last time I left off at the end of a scene where Mr. Cole met Jenner. So now we're moving to the daytime. Jenner has accepted Cole as an assistant because Mr. Cole was able to fast talk his way out of getting killed. So the themes for tonight, the first theme is tension, which is going to be probably primarily dealing with this back and forth as far as power is concerned. The second theme is action, which is kind of appropriate for what we're going for, or Arcade Run, if you can read my mystery. Obviously, with a haunted hills and a strange rat, that's going to have some effect. Personal, not one of our biggest themes for tonight, which leaves social, which is the least likely theme for us to encounter tonight. Makes perfect sense to me because we're currently on our way through the off the beaten track, off the roads, trying to head to the hills where nobody lives. We're going to pull up the map. So let's go ahead and set the scene. What I have here is this is going to be a mystery scene. It's going to involve a new character connected to an existing character. They are exotic and supportive. But secret information is being leaked. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and decide who this character is connected to randomly. Okay, so this is someone who is also connected to the Cult of Labator, which definitely makes them allied with Jenner. So by my reckoning, if we took the North Road, we're probably heading to, we're probably around here. So Jenner is waiting impatiently for Mr. Cole to finish his morning constitutional, as it were. You know, self-walkies, if you will. Obviously, rats don't care that much about finding the perfect spots. They will just find something out of the way where no one can find their trail afterwards and call that good. while he's packing up, Mr. Cole discovers that there's some papers in his pack that weren't there before. And as soon as he starts picking them out, Jenner starts squeaking loudly, runs over to him, grabs him by the wrist, and says, "No, those are stay in the bag. You not seen them. No one seen them. Right." Why are you hiding them in my stuff? Did you wake up overnight? No. It did not go through your stuff while you were sleeping. That would be rude. You are my assistant now. No. Shoved papers in there while trying to kill you. Much better time. Assumed this was going to be simple murder and theft. And then could take your stuff and use that as pretext for keeping the papers set. That wasn't going to work out very well for me, but okay. So I'm going to be carrying these papers then. Yes. Very important. Very important papers are on Doug, who is stupid. What's our relationship here? I am great and wise rat. You are bumbling assistant. Is very, very logical way that everything is set up. I believe I've completely changed the voice that I'm using for Jenner, but that's absolutely fine. Here's what I found. Thank you. I did not mean to talk to Siri. So, under the observation of Jenner, Mr. Cole adjusts the location of things in his pack, kind of doing his best to make a kind of a secret panel that he can use to, really keep them hidden. Something where he's not going to accidentally dislodge them, bump them around, any of that sort of stuff. So the question is, what exactly is Jenner planning on doing with these? So what I need is something of an exotic persuasion. that is getting these papers in exchange for helping Jenner on the next leg of his journey to get back to what he perceives as home. This wouldn't be a cat or a dog. We know that right off the bat. There's no way that a cat or a dog would have firm knowledge of a cult of Laborator. Circle? Yeah, that's a good word. That would be safe for Jenner if we go ahead and look at that supportive description. But they're also supposed to be exotic, so it can't just be another mouse or another rat. I think we're probably looking at a badger. Now, when we say badgers, yes, of course, there are actual badgers, but there's also weasels, there's ferrets, there are wolverines, all those kind of I kind of like to think of them as slipperies. You know, you've seen ferrets; they can slip in and out of things. Badgers, of course, live in holes. Ultimately, badgers are a barbarian society that has just recently decided to learn to speak the common language of dogs, so that they can trade with them. So I'm going to go ahead and create for us a badger. Let's go ahead and do Tatiana Ferret. Who's a wild speaker. That's basically a druid in Badger Society, or shaman, maybe. So these papers are going to Tatiana, and in exchange, he's going to help Jenner on his next steps to find a home. So let's go ahead and create a new plot line of the secret papers. Do some scratching here. Please stand by. Okay. So didn't really short scene. They continue on. So we are going to be running into a tension-based event here. I cannot remember which the icon for tension is. I do not know where my helper card is. I am forgetting that I actually printed out all the rules. So I have them right here. Okay. So we've made it a little bit closer to the hills. In fact, we've made it to the hills. And as we approach the hills, there's a trap. Now, both of them have a fairly good... No, that is absolutely untrue. Jenner has no bonus to dexterity. Mr. Cole has a good bonus to agility. I'm not going to be able to keep them track. So they've entered the hills, and they come across a pit trap. So the first one I have is Cole was a 13. And then Jenner with a not rolled into the box. So Jenner absolutely falls in. I'm going to say he falls down about 20 feet. So this example I've got here, we've got a D6 blunt damage. So Jenner is now for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Whoops. No, that's not how math works. So Jenner has taken damage and is in the bottom of the pit. Mr. Cole, knowing that where there's a trap, there's a trapper, immediately tries to find a place to hide while he grabs his rope so that he can help Jenner out. 8. Oops. So he's not actually trained in that, so he doesn't get the experience bonus. Okay, perfect. And hiding is dexterity. That's just a 10. Well, I'm going to see what we have here. So I'm being told that I'm going to be drawing 2 identities and 2 descriptors. We've got 1 character that we're looking at. Interestingly enough, the descriptor I have here is sweet and beautiful. But both of them say draw 2 identities for the identities. I'm still getting draw 2 identities for the identities. Oh my god. I have no actual identities here. Okay, ruler. And administrator. So what is happening that is causing a beautiful ruler of a kingdom to be hanging around a pit of rubble. Okay. This is where the Oracle questions come in. We're going to start off with is this individual also a victim of the trap? I'm going to say it's 50-50 and just go ahead and get an answer of exceptional yes. Is this individual connected to the trap maker? Is the trap maker a friend of this individual? No. Okay. So, what that means to me is that this ruler is somehow involved in a revolt. Okay, let's go ahead and throw in one last question, which is this Tatiana? Okay, well, we've got that going for us. Let's go ahead and get a situation description for right now. Trials as a subject, deceive as an action, powerful and oddly. Since we're going underground, let's go ahead and pull out Squeaks in the Deep and go to their list of enemies. Because they're listed as beautiful and mice tend to be charming, let's go ahead and see what we have under mice. Well, there's our clever trap master for later. A gentle mouse bandit. So our character in D&D terms is going to be a bard. In mouse terms, that would be a rascal. So this is a noble. I'll go ahead and get more details for them. Is this mouse male? That is the wrong deck. Let's try this one. Is this mouse male? Yes. Okay, so our beautiful ruling mouse is going to be Prince Dalen White Whisker of the royal family White Whisker. So Jenner has set off this trap, which sent him plummeting into the below, the underneath. Mr. Cole, despite obviously not trusting him yet, is very much not interested in losing a potential helper at this point. And is absolutely planning on rescuing him. But unfortunately, despite his efforts to hide, Mr. Cole finds himself at the face of two crossbows leveled right at his snout. Down in the underneath, Jenner has 3. And these are the trap makers. So Mr. Cole raises himself up to his full height, and these are all mice. So Cole, being a dachshund, is not necessarily that much taller than him, but there's a bit of a height difference anyway. And Mr. Cole, who has persuade as a skill, tells them, "We're not your enemy. We mean you no harm. We didn't mean to fall into your pit or whatever. So he has no bonuses to presence, but he does get a +1 experience bonus when he does a persuade check. 11. That is going to be against their wisdom. And they don't have any bonuses there. But no, the not effective for convincing them at all. Let me go ahead and just make sure that I did not give my poor little guy too much of a disadvantage. So I haven't earned any fortune yet, so I can't use my good breeding trick to improve things. And persuade. Oh, that might be helpful. Difficulty is 10 plus the target's cunning. Okay. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I thought. Okay. It's unlikely this needs to be a fight. So I'm going to go ahead and draw 2 of my Mythic cards, and if they both come up yes, then it will be a fight. A yes and another yes. So unfortunately, they don't trust the situation, and they're going to go ahead and start off aggressively. Just found some more on my desk that I should go ahead and shuffle in here. Okay, that's all ready for next time. All right, so we have 3 Trap Masters. Let's go ahead and add a new sheet. This is going to be our plot tracker. And this is going to be combat tracker. Okay. Trapper 1, Trapper 2, Trapper 3, Trapper 4, and Trapper 5. So the first 2 are up against Mr. Cole, and the other 3 are up against okay. Let's go ahead and start off with initiative. That is dexterity. Oh dear. So the trappers who are going up against Mr. Cole both have extremely high initiatives. And really? Yeah, I'm not going to take that many 20s. Jeremy's are a little better. Okay, and if we go ahead and go through Mr. Cole here and Jeremy there, Mr. Cole has a +2 agility as well, so 17. And Jeremy, Jenner, his name is Jenner. Has a no bonus. Okay. So with the crossbows pointed at him, Mr. Cole tenses to attack. So naturally, they too are planning on combat. Simple ranged weapons, short bow, no. I thought I had a small crossbow right there. Okay. These are going to be up against an armor class of 13. And their ranged is +4. 10. First one does not hit. And the second one does with a boon. Rolling the dice. Triumph. So I don't have any rules for triumph in attacks here, so I'm just going to go ahead and treat it as a success. With a 3, that puts Mr. Cole back. That puts Mr. Cole down to 8 stamina. And now it's Mr. Cole's turn. So he leaps at Trapper 1, who has a defense of 12. Pulling out his short sword as he does. And he swings at the mouse. 13, 14, 15. That is definitely a hit, which means I get to do a d6 at 2. 5. Their stamina points is 1. Which means that their stamina points is 6, which means that a 5 leaves him with 1. Let's not get stupid here. So that moves us down to Jenner's new friends. Trapper 3. And they are looking for an 11. That's 1 hit. That's 2 hits. That's 2 hits. Okay, so Jenner is probably going to be unconscious after this. 4, 5, 6. No, he has 1 stamina remaining. Remaining. And where was Mr. B? 8. So Jenner is equipped with a rapier. And I'm going to bring over the monster ability that he had, which is that if he does get a triumph, he paralyzes his opponent. So, real quick, a rapier is a D8 stabbing weapon. Mech on some nuts. He is using strength, so his attack is plus. Whoops. Go ahead and at least slightly share what I'm working on here. There we go. So, rapier. His roll is at +4, thanks to his strength and his proficiency bonus, and his damage is at +3. Okay. They have an armor of 12. Take a look at what happens here. That is a 3. We can't see that it's a 3, but unfortunately, I have to confess to the 3-ness of it being. Okay. That means that it's back to the top of the round, and the Trapper, who are up against Mr. Cole, that's 1 hit. That's 1 hit for 6 points of damage. But then Mr. Cole gets to try 6 I definitely know that +2 is not good enough. Meanwhile, down in the cave, 1 miss, 2 miss. 1 hit. And since Jenner is at 1 hit point, we know for a fact that he is unconscious. In fact, we can probably assume that Cole is unconscious here as well. Which goes well with our scene as decided by Mythic. Having been bruised and bloodied, Jenner and his new assistant, Mr. Cole, are taken to where the princess is. So I think we're going to go ahead and grab some Oracle questions. I'm going to go ahead and give this one more shuffle. Okay. Are they planned as sacrifices? Okay. This is not a sacrifice situation. Indentured servitude? Okay. Well, this could work out quite nicely for Jenner. So what we know here is that we've got a princess. She's in a cage. And mice who have been given directions to take prisoners for indentured servitude purposes have brought Jenner and Mr. Cole to the same place that they're keeping her prisoner. So we can safely assume that we have a cluster of mice that have been led by a king or queen. It's not princess, it's prince. How could I forget that? Probably because I was on the wrong screen. So this used to be the royal family White Whisker. The underneath caverns, underneath, obviously, the hills. And although King White Whisker and Queen White Whisker were killed in a civil war, the kind and beautiful Prince White Whisker, they could not stand the idea of him being slain, despite what his family meant to them. And therefore, they were planning on giving him up to the cult of Labrador. Yes, the old faithful, well, we're not killing him. If they do something bad to him, that's not really our problem. But, so the reason why Pugmire believes that there's a haunted region here is because of the White Whisker rebels, or I suppose the People's Republic of White Whisker. I don't know why they overthrew the king yet. Was this a military coup? Okay. So it was just a civil war. So the cult of Labrador, actually, let's not keep things that generic. Did the Civil War, and I'm going to go ahead and make this a likely situation. So if there is one yes on this, then my answer is yes. Was the Civil War the Barkers' fault? Oh. But the answer is firmly yes. It definitely, the Civil War was for the Barkers' purposes, which means that the reason why they are kidnapping people and keeping prisoners is because they're going to go ahead and turn them over to the Barkers for expendables and servants for the army. So that's how we bring this all together. So Mr. Cole and Jenner are now in cages along with, let's go ahead and say, 30 other prisoners of all varieties. There's rats and mice, of course, because this is the underneath. There's a cat or two. There's a few dogs because we're so close to Pugmire. And near them they've been put into cages near Prince Dalen. And Prince Dalen looks at them sadly and says, I'm sorry that you've decided to join us under such circumstances. So, what exactly is going on here? Death, war, followed by more war and more death. I'm afraid we are to be instrumental in the plans of some great noble from Pugmire. No offense to your shining city, but they unfortunately have elected to bring death to my family in exchange for the ability to choose their own system of government, which, based on what I'm seeing, is not going to prove too effective. I think that soon enough, the people who think that fairness in society is more appropriate will find themselves also under the boot hills of the leaders of the war. But I am being rude. I am Prince Dalian Lightwhisker. Once these were my father and mother's subjects, and now I am all that is left of the royal family. Fortunately, I was not blessed with siblings, or they would be in this unfortunate situation. I suppose that in their way, my mother and father were quite cruel to their subjects, so had I known more than I know now, then I probably would have been on the side of the rebels, but hopefully not on the path to sacrificing them to earn favor with a foreign leader. And you? And Jenner pops up. I am Jenner. I am of the cult of Labrador, and this is my assistant, Mr. Cow. Mr. Cold. Yes, Mr. Cow. That's what I said. Mr. Cole can't help but begrudgingly smile because technically, if he's being offered to the Barker's war effort, that was what he was trying to do, and that's what he was trying to find. So, in a way, he was successful. And with a new character who could become another ally, and definitely a good sign of what will happen next, I believe that that is a perfect time to bring tonight's activities to an end. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to continue this next week or in 2 weeks after giving a solo role-playing game from one of the brilliant creators on Itch or DriveThruRPG their time in the sun. But regardless, I will be here next Thursday, once again, attempting to bring joy to the world through solo role-playing. And I will, as always, sign off with, especially now, you gotta be one of the good ones, because there's way too many of the bad. I wish you a good night, and I hope to see you next Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you for coughing, Dawn.
Sorry.
Good night.